Hello and welcome back to No Cabin Fever today. With us today is Alexander Post from VenITure. He will tell us a little bit about how to replace Excel with a Jira Warehouse structure. And without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Alexander. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Daniel. Okay, yes, my name is Alexander Post. I'm from VenITure. And as Daniel said, today I want to show you the warehouse structure and how you can replace Excel with the Jira Warehouse structure. So basically what we do today is we discuss shortly the structure, why to replace Excel, and the live demo. Okay, here are the basic concepts. So the warehouse structure is actually a concept which we developed with together with ESL. So we had a summit talk with ESL together where we present the project of ESL. And for ESL, we developed the structure. So basically the concept is that we store data within Jira, which is usually saved within Excel files. So to imagine what we mean is that we create projects which are which are intended to store data, and an issue represents a data entry. An issue type itself is some sort of data classification. The workflow is the data lifecycle. The fields are the data property. The issue links is some sort of hierarchy and the dependency. And with security levels, we can manage permission per data entry. So an example, usually you find Excel in the finance management. So one example could be that we have a project called Expense Warehouse, where we have an issue type called expense, and with the field summary and the total. So we could create a lot of entries for an expense and how much it cost us. We did this structure actually to replace Excel with an ESL. And the reasons to do so is, that mostly Excel files, if you don't use Google Sheets, for example, they are file-based. That means somebody has a file which he's editing. Maybe he's sending it via email, and then somebody else is editing the file, and so on. So you might know already that then people have different files with different informations. Sometimes they are also stored in Confluence, so this helps, but still the files needs to be downloaded, and then you have again different information. The next thing is within Excel, except you use some scripts within Excel, you don't have a workflow. So your data has no life cycle. What this means, for example, is each entry is just an entry. Everybody could edit it. And you don't know if this line, for example, is approved or already paid in the example of expenses and so on. Also, these files or Excel itself is hard to use for cross dependencies. What I mean with that is that you have right now your file with the expenses, but you can't reference it within other tools. For example, within Jira. So if you want to reference to the expense itself, you need to say, hey, there's an Excel file, this is maybe attached or not, and so on. So it's very hard to display dependencies within your data actually. And also what I told you, it's very hard to do restrictions on Excel files. I mean, you can lock information with passwords, but there is no restriction on the row itself, or it's complicated to make. That means after a row is, for example, approved, an expense, for example, then and somebody else could manipulate it, and then you don't know if it's actually approved or not. With Excel, with Jira, this would be better to solve. So To build our warehouse structure, we use 3 apps. And in this case, we use Issue Grid, which is currently on beta and hopefully will be released soon. Which is actually replacing or not replacing, which is drawing the table, from Excel within Jira. With V-links, we create the link dependencies, and with issue layout, we make the view of the issue easy and reduce information which is not useful. So what you can see here is an example of an Excel file which we found on the Atlassian documentation. So basically you can see here order dates with region, the representer or reporter, maybe the item, the unit cost, and the total. Afterwards, the columns are repeated. I think that's a showcase from itself, from Atlassian itself. So this example, I want to show you within Jira how this could be done. So we switch to the live demo. So what you right now see is the representation of the Excel file you saw before within Jira. So we have an issue type from the it's the issue type file. Currently, it has just a summary Atlassian Excel example. We see when the file is created and updated, who was the reporter and who's the assignee. But the most important or interesting part is this table here. As you can see, this looks or behaves like an Excel table. So you have in difference for each line the issue key or the row key, more or less. You can see that each row is basically an issue. And as so, you can store information on the issue, like the order date, the region, the reporter, the assets, and also the unit price or the units, how many of them and what the price is and the total of them. So you have the full functionality you would have also on a Jira issue, basically. In our case, we said, hey, it might make sense that we have a workflow which, so the file is at the beginning open, then maybe somebody creates the file, and afterwards he asks for an approval. And if the approval is done, then the Excel sheet is also approved. And what we could do here is also to make this Excel file or the representation of it read only. That means afterwards, nobody is allowed to create new lines or edit them, basically. So, but let's go more in detail in the table itself. So what you can do is, like in Excel, to create a new line. So for example, select the date of the order, let's say yesterday, region, East, I'm the reporter. I can select different other assets. Right now you see again the possibility to select other issues, which are again a warehouse structure. So for example, we say TV screen, we say we want to have 10 of them, and the cost units, I don't know, 1,000, for example. Then I click just on creating. And as you can see, the line is insert here. You see the values. You can see the total is calculated directly. This is actually done by a script runner. And I can also edit it inline. So I can increase the units. The totals are directly updated. Also the total of the row and also the complete total. So what is also possible is to sort. So I can basically sort in this table, and I could actually also open the row. if I do so, as you can see, I open the row itself. You can see all the details within the row, but you can't do much on it. I mean, you could say it's in progress, and also ask for approval just for this row. And the possibilities are unlimited, which you can do basically with Jira itself. And always you can go back to the file and you find your file or your Excel file itself again. Within Excel, you have also the functionality to to have multiple sheets. So I have here an example prepared where I can switch between the regular entries and also to switch to sheet 2. I mean, it depends on your business case, what you want to achieve, but you could do also this, the sheets, which you have usually in Excel, you can also implement within Jira and have different information maybe stored or not. As you can see, the rows itself are within a different project. So it's in basically in the row warehouse, and all the permissions are applied which Jira has. So you could say within this project, nobody is allowed to edit this issue or maybe not transition this issue. And with the issue grid, you can still make this viewable. That means if I go back to my example file, I can set a property that even if the user has no permission to this issue itself, the entry is displayed. But then he's not allowed to create an entry, and he's also not allowed to edit this entry. Yeah, that's basically how you could actually replace Excel within Jira. This is a very abstract example, but I guess you can imagine what is possible and how easy this is possible, and that this is a good replacement of, let's say, most of the Excel files where you only store data like expense sheets or asset management, maybe also HR purposes and so on. So that's basically it. So if there's any questions, you can ask them. I try to answer them as best as possible.
Okay. So it doesn't look like there's any questions at the moment. So thanks again, everyone, for joining in today. We'll have another week of interesting talks ahead of us. And I hope we'll see you back tomorrow for how to onboard new employees with Linchpin from Adil Nasri by Setup Media. So hope to see you back tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Take care and bye-bye.